Hello and welcome back, everyone, once again. And coming hot off the heels of what was a fairly exciting game for game one, it was such a perfect game to lead off a series like this for V3 Esports. And I talked about it a little bit during the game, where the meta itself right now, it always allows for these kinds of innovations. It always allows for players who can completely bring new things to this stage, players who are willing to make innovations, you're willing to cut those corners, and you're willing to challenge the meta mainstay ideas of, no, we'll draft some safe carries and we'll play for late game. V3 say none of that. We're going to move a Scion around the map. We're going to have him do chickens and then red and then die, go to the bot lane, pick up that CS, not get turret dived, and then just... It shakes up so much for that game, and Sengoku weren't ready for it, but now, what it means for the rest of this series is Sengoku are thinking to themselves, what do we need to be banning here? What was the issue? Because... you can't ban Karma and Set with the champions that you already opted into banning, because then you opt into giving them back things like Galio potentially, or Kalista and Caitlyn, whichever are the ones you end up deciding to give. But then you're also looking at, oh, do we need to be banning Scion? Are we prepared to deal with this in a game 2 scenario? Is Lilia a problematic champion that suddenly we need to be keeping a radar on? Innovation like this being thrown out early, I love to see from V3, because it takes a level of confidence, but the payoff is so sweet for the rest of this series. So if Sengoku has adaptations in mind, V3 can reap the rewards from that by getting other picks cycled into them, and they've already proven themselves on the meta picks. That's why they're banned. Now, you've just given Sengoku incentive to ban other things and give you the meta picks, or to hand over what you just lost to, and say, are you able to repeat that performance? Of course, Sengoku can adjust to that. There is still something to be said for, just mid-set adjustments, not within your picks, but within your play, and Sengoku can opt into that sort of thing. But I definitely think V3 just not only won the draft, but just won in how they were able to play it out, and they'll have an opportunity to do that once more, as V3 Esports actually going to be on blue side once again, which is a little bit interesting, especially considering that it's somewhat actually, I guess it's more understandable for Sengoku. The benefit is that you will be able to see at least the first 3 picks of V3 Esports, and you can try and base what they're doing off of that. The risky thing is that you didn't know what they were doing last time, and you don't know how many tricks V3 has up their sleeve, as the win rate for blue side only climbs from here. V3 banning away Twisted Fate, Orianna, and their next ban lined up, while Sengoku going to be banning away Galio still, but this time taking Set off the table. While V3 Esports are going to be taking Caitlyn off for themselves this time. And now Sengoku are a little bit of an interesting position. There's a couple priority bans still on the table, Kalista being one of them. You have Kalista still open, Volibear still open, and Karma. While V3 Esports are a team that have proven themselves on Karma and a believer of the Karma flex options, we'll see what V3 decide to go for first. Lilia would not be a bad pickup, especially just because she's so new to the meta, and a lot of teams may not be entirely familiar with where she fits in. Lilia doesn't show too much if you're not prepared enough for it. So I don't mind this one from V3 Esports. I think it's a good option to still hold some reserve while not having to worry about playing into a Lilia should you draft something like a Karma. But what Sengoku respond with will really be telling, is already drafting up the Azir right away. And if they draft up a jungler, this is a jungler that Blank has had a lot of success on in the past. So that's not a bad option to pick, but again, going for mid Azir and jungler on the first two pickups did not go well for you last time. So V3 Esports are going to have their opportunity to make something work. No set means that maybe we'll be seeing Boogie moving over to something like a Volibear. But a Kalista taken up right away. Is Ace going to be going for the LeBlanc as well? This is another potential comp that Lilia can work with. If you have an early scrapping comp and you're just constantly looking for fight, Lilia can absolutely help take advantage of that sort of thing. V3 are going to lock themselves in. The Nautilus will secure their bot lane duo right away. I somewhat understand this pickup from V3 Esports. I personally wouldn't have liked to have seen in Nautilus here, as there's still plenty of picks for V3 that could have been explored. Alistar's been showing up a little bit. Nautilus, Thresh, Leona even, which Sengoku seem to be eyeing up for themselves. So I'm not too sure if the support was the one you want priority on, but far be it from me to be exactly predicting what V3 still have in store for us. While Sengoku are going to be looking at their next few bans here. Wouldn't be surprised to see things like a LeBlanc ban coming out. A Scion, there it is, it's like we called it. I'm going to be taking that one off the table right away, so Scion is going to be removed by the side of Sengoku, and V3 Esports can kind of pick and choose their bans from here. Ashe also going to be taken off the table. And now they can really pinch away at this AD pool. They can even ban away Jhin as well, and possibly look to force Sengoku onto something like an Ezreal or a Senna, which both are not terrible options. Definitely still meta mainstays of the AD carry slot, but Boogie already locking in the Kalista for his teammate. Will set up Archer. Will set up Archer in a position that he can set up some ideal bans of Sengoku. I think just missed the window to ban away their last ban, so that would be a no ban coming out from Sengoku, which will mean that LeBlanc is still open for V3 Esports if they decide to choose it. A couple other options also on the table. As if you are Sengoku here, you're likely picking up your AD carry. And it looks like Ezreal might be the choice here. Is a little bit better than Jhin, as Jhin is a bit more susceptible to being run down in lane, especially with Leona having only the ability to go forward. You don't have a whole lot of defensive options in your lane once you have the Leona, so picking an AD carry that can posture a little bit more defensively is always a fine option. I'm really curious to see where V3 are going to be going from here. Ornn would not be a bad pickup. There's the LeBlanc, like we called it. V3 going to be grabbing that one up, and then I wouldn't even mind an Ornn here as a sort of long-range engage option. That way you don't have to rely on the Kalista ultimate. You can save it for once the fight gets started up. And I have talked before about how long-range engage is sort of something that a lot of regions have slept on, but having the Volibear is also not a bad option. Decent scrapper in lane if you are proficient on the Volibear, as well as can posture himself early on quite well, as the Gnar is going to be picked up here by Oppamin for the top lane, and Gnar is a little bit risky into what V3 has here, because you can definitely get slept before you're able to get to your Mega and blown up while you are still that squishy Gnar. So the benefit, of course, is that you can combo your ultimate very well with Solar Flare, and the team fight presence coming out from Sengoku looks very solid. But right now, V3 are looking to put the pedal to the metal and secure a game 2 fast with a very early game oriented comp. So I like what I'm seeing coming out from V3 Esports. The question is, will Sengoku be able to weather that storm? And I think while we are kind of looking at these picks and you're really kind of thinking to yourself, like, how is Sengoku feeling about that last game? Pyrion, obviously, somewhat feeling confident as he did re-lock in the Azir for himself. And it was a pick that he did have a CS advantage on. He wasn't getting the most amount of, like, team fight carry aspects out, but his comp didn't really allow that. There weren't a whole lot of tanks for Azir to be standing behind, nothing big-bodied at least. And by the time he got to the point where he had a couple items under his belt, V3 were just well and too far ahead, and the members that were tanks were just had so much gold lining their pockets that they were able to ward off the damage coming out from Sengoku. I am a little bit curious to see how Sengoku are going to adjust to playing into the Lilia. You're swapping out Nidalee for Graves, which... The hard part about Nidalee specifically into Lilia is that you are almost never going to land your spear, and you can kind of get run down afterwards. You can also kind of kite out Graves in most skirmishes, but likely a lot of that will be played around the mid lane. The nice thing for V3, or the nice thing for Sengoku, is that a lot of these lanes are not very gankable, at least until Boogie hits 6 and has sleep on deck. This is also a great time to talk about one of my favorite Lilia abilities, which is her W, I believe, if I am not mistaken, is Watch Out, Eep. Which is always fun to get to talk about ability names for champions like that when they come out. You all know I am a huge fan of Sleepy Trouble Bubble and fun alliteration ability names like that, so if Lilia is going to have some fun ability names, I am definitely on board with it. It always sort of reminds me of, for those of you who played Magic the Gathering, one of the old Unhinged Unglued card, Hans, run! Which, if you do know, forces you to say, Hans, run, it's a, and then read out the card name that you're next playing. So it's always fun to have something like that, and I think Lilia as a character is exactly the kind of champion that would be like that. Just sort of a very scared, timid deer who's jumping around the jungle, always scared and always nervous of what's coming around the corner. But right now, Sengoku are the ones who need to be nervous about what Lilia could be bringing to the table, as V3 already have one win under their belt with Lilia, carrying a solo 100% win rate for Lilia in the LJL, as they are the first team to be bringing it out, and they're going to be bringing it right back to bat. So potential for V3 to set themselves up as a Lilia team, and going forward, as even if they end up losing this series, they will be playing against either DFM or CGA 2 weeks from now. DFM banned Lilia every game. There was no Lilias to be seen in their series, and I believe, if I am not mistaken, CGA as well, in their series against Hawks Gaming, it was banned almost every time. So potentially an avenue that V3 can hold on to going forward in this next few games.
さあ始まりましたプレーオフラウンド2マッチ1ゲーム 2V3 スポーツ vs 戦国ゲーミングの試合スタートです。
And as we get things started along here, you can see a 5-man invade coming out. V3 Esports going to be finding themselves onto Yutorime Yeshu. Just had to start Arcane Shift for that one, and that's the payoff for not leveling your abilities early, folks, is you have them available for when You see the squad rolling up on you as V3 Esports are taking a leisurely stroll through the jungle. Enti needs to get moving here. He should be okay to be able to get out of there, as they did turn back up to drop a ward, but that easily could have been a scary situation. A good response from Opperman gets a little bit of deep vision over onto the side of V3 Esports. But it looks like V3 are going to be running back in to take away this blue buff. And it looks like Blank is going to try and steal the blue buff away on the opposite end, as Reyna, Dredgeline's not quite going to land its way there. While Archer is just going to do his best to kind of harass him. Not going to have really any kill pressure. But both junglers will know that they're splitting the map in this direction, as he did see Blank enter into that blue buff side. So, not a terrible situation for Paz, as it's a little bit hard to dive the Volibear alone in the top side, and giving a champion like Kalista the extra pressure of having the map split this way is beneficial for V3. Archer can definitely be a can definitely play very aggressively, and it looks like Reyna wants to do just that. He sends out the dredge line onto Enti, gonna force out the exhaust right away. That's an early summoner burned from the side of V3 Esports. This exhaust goes down. You retained your flashes, but a good start for V3 here. Spoogie's gonna hit that level 3 off, full clearing that blue side. And just kind of poke his head around in that bottom lane. He might go for another dive. It's not a set this time, but it's not something that V3 are unfamiliar with from these early game dives. They have quite the wave in front of them. But Boogie's going to be backing away in the end, just going to retreat back. But ultimately, again, keeping the map split this way is not a bad position for V3. You can just try and pour pressure onto that bot lane, keep Ezreal behind, and make it very detrimental for Leona to try to engage on anything when she just risks getting eaten alive on entry. While Paz, of course, is kind of the one who suffers a little bit in that department, as he has to respect the jungle presence up in the top lane, as well as just playing the ranged into melee. Opperman, not one to make you enjoy top lane experience into his Gnar up there. But ultimately a fairly return to neutral so far. The nice thing, of course, for V3 Esports in splitting the map this way is that you are already the early game team, so these Drakes are expected to go your way. And if you're already splitting it towards the bottom side, you get free access to it. You don't have to worry, or it's very easy to set up vision around that side. But I'm curious to see what Boogie is going to be responding with. He does have to back here. Should have about enough gold to get his, finish Codex, but he's got to find Blank here. Landing the E will give him a little bit of move speed and take some from Blank, so not going to be able to chase that one all the way down, phase rush or otherwise. But it will at least check Blank from heading over to his Gromp right away. And for now, just a fairly mild early game experience. Ace suffering a little bit in the CS department. Pyrian is actually a great Azir in terms of poking out and making you kind of not like playing into early game Azir. Very hard for him to actually kill, but just netting CS advantage into a LeBlanc is good enough. Well, Archer picks up that wave there. Is finally going to throw down the ulti link there onto Reyna. The indirect first blood of League of Legends from Kalista, but Boogie's gonna be face-checking Blank here. He might be in a rough spot. Ace does have level 6 advantage, so he can utilize that here, but did end up whiffing out on the chains onto Pyrian, so ultimately that play will diffuse for now. Unless, of course, Boogie has anything to say about getting onto Pyrian here. This is actually a great position for Sengoku, as it will delay this Drake very heavily. Ace needs to back, so if they wanted to contest, they easily could. But V3 also have the information that Blank is on the top side and that all of his camps are down on the bottom side. They feel fairly confident to start this one up. This is just cashing in on all of that early pressure, so V3 going to be grabbing up first Drake. Mountain Drake secured over for them. Well, looks like Sengoku are already going to be looking to set up for the trade onto that Rift Herald. And for now, fairly what you'd expect. Of course, you expect V3 to be the ones having gold advantage, but the pressure that they have so far is paying dividends, and when it comes to the situation that Sengoku feel the need to fight over something, that will really be where V3 look to strike, unless they look to strike down at this bot lane. But meanwhile, it's going to be top lane on the menu. Paz is going to pop the ultimate to try and dodge out on that one. Flashes away. Will mean that if they want to continue this dive, they're going to need to work for it. Well, Boogie did just crest into level 6, so now this bot lane just got a lot deadlier. As he's throwing over the bowling balls, trying to find any amount of value. Reyna's going to find a dredge line. That's going to be a Q landed. Empty should be going down for this one. Boogie's going to flash over the wall, get first blood over there. Should be able to grab up this Gromp in safety. Meanwhile, V3 just going to be grabbing up those turret plates on the bottom side there. So first blood over to V3 Esports. Not a bad deal. Blank should be able to trade this one over fairly uncontested. I don't think Boogie can quite get there in time, but the E is going to land there. Should have ultimate on deck to just throw that one down. Boogie barely going to live out on that one as Reyna's going to flash out of turret range. Little bit risky, but again, a clean dive from V3 Esports. Their early dives have been impressive so far in this series. That's going to be a double kill. Both bot laners going down. V3 grabbing the first 2 kills there. I'm going to take a brief break to get a drink while we watch this replay one more time. Just Sengoku spends so much time zoned away, and this is all because of the way V3 split the map from the start. If you want to set Archer up for a carry, this is how you do it. And I really am enjoying the way Boogie utilizes his extra move speed to just be running up and down the map, just trying to exhibit pressure all over both the enemy jungle and kind of his own, while stopping in every now and again for the lane pressure. Good looks so far from V3 Esports. While Opperman is doing a great job of getting a gold advantage in the top lane, almost about 30 CS up on his enemy laner, so he's effectively killed him. And with a couple extra turret plates as well, Opperman has really been able to take advantage of that. Well, Blank might just be looking to cash the rest of the way in here. It looks like this is going to be the dive. Paz does not have ultimate. He will be able to zone Blank away ever so slightly. He might just go down here. Blank should just be able to pop R, but Paz, ooh, just barely. Blank had to flash for the auto there, as the shield would have come in, and that could have been enough for him to live. The ultimate just barely not coming off cooldown in time for Paz. But Blank will be able to get that kill in the end. A solo kill, so Opperman does just kind of cash in on turret gold. But as it stands right now, setting Paz behind as the main front line of V3 Esports could potentially be a route that Sengoku look to exploit later on. So different advantages in different areas for now. And we'll see how both teams play around it. Right now, gold advantage to Sengoku in heaps for this top lane. Wumi and Paz should have a little bit of a rougher time split pushing against him in the later stages of the game,
え
while V3 are just going to try and continue cashing in on these bot lane turret plates.
さあアーチャーのカリスタがその3つ目のドラゴンで、活躍できるかどうか。そうですね。ここの勝負になって。
Fortunately for Ace, he has done a great job of trying to even up that CS lead in the mid lane. Well, Paz gonna get forced back a bit here. Opperman thinking about just going for an all-in onto him. A lot of damage there. That's the advantage of having Black Cleaver, for just being able to chase the enemy down so hard. I wouldn't even be surprised if Opperman ended up going for things like the Frozen Mallet, but ooh, Sengoku need to be careful. They're wandering into a little bit of a trap here. Reyna's gonna be the one to spring it, as that's going to be a quick kill onto Pyrian. The Azir wall is not going to be large enough to stop them there, as a sleep is going to go down. That's the advantage of the bowling ball. Reyna is going to find another hook there, and Enti is going to be going down to Archer. This is exactly what you want to see if you're Lilia. You want to be up and down the map, you want to be running amok, and you want to be all over the place looking for skirmish after skirmish. And what a great way to set that up if you are V3 there. Finds a bowling ball, immediately just pops the R. Hey, that's a free kill just waiting to happen. While Blank is trying to walk his way up here. Azir doesn't have wall, so he's not... doesn't have a whole lot of disengage options. Well, it looks like V3 are going to delay this Drake for now. Infernal Drake would be nice, but... that means it's either going to be an Ocean Soul or a Cloud Soul, and one of those is definitely a little bit more impactful for V3 here, as they're going to go all in. Enti's going to find Ace. Should just be able to use the distortion to get over the wall there. Boogie's trying to find his way forward, but I don't think they'll be able to get in on this one. It will be split one Drake apiece, while Sengoku pick that one up. Still 4-1 in the kill count, so V3 not too upset about that one. But as Ocean Drake hits the floor, suddenly things get a little bit interesting for V3 Esports, as you can easily look to start taking some fights. Ocean Soul does wonders for both Paz, who's a little bit behind Lilia, makes her scrapping a little bit safer from stray damage, and Kalista, if you give her an option to stay in the fights longer, she is always going to take it. So potential here for V3 Esports. And we'll just kind of return once again to neutral ground. Nothing too exciting to be coming up, at least from the side of Sengoku, where right now your bot lane, a little bit worse for wear. Enti especially is not looking for any fights anytime soon. Opperman, of course, could capitalize if he gets a good ultimate off, but you do require a little bit of setup for that. It is hard to track down Archer and Ace on just those very mobile carries, especially Lilia, who adds to just the overall mobility of their comp. It looks like Lilia might be looking at the top lane, unless Opperman is just going to back straight out. I don't think they know he's there, as Reyna's going to be the one who gets first dibs on him. Boogie's going to show up here, going to land a spell, land an ultimate, but I don't think this is a play V3 can really be going for. Reyna got kind of awkwardly buffered through that one. Archer utilizes the ultimate just to save him, and that just might be enough for Sengoku to take this re-engage. Pyrian's going to get the shuffle off. That's going to be 2. That should be 3, as I don't think Boogie has quite anywhere to run. Sengoku, a great counter punch there. Gonna punish the looks from V3 onto that top side. As honestly, that was just a little bit of forceful play coming out from V3 there. At the point you're at, you kind of needed to recognize that Optimum was just way too far. You were never going to be able to catch up to him there, and that just gives all the time in the world for Sengoku to rotate up and make this fight work for them. There's no teleport options as well for pause in the bot lane, so unfortunately for them, it's just not a valid option that V3 has. And that will mean that Sengoku are going to be going to find their gold lead fairly stiffly against a comp like V3 Esports that needs to be winning early. So it's a little bit detrimental for V3 here. Also, cashing in off of the shutdown onto Archer is never a bad sign.
ブーツも肉つですし連戦のところでもうボリビアは太刀打ちができないですね。
And once again, returning to neutral ground, this Ocean Drake will be the next point of action. Oh, jeez, Optimum, 8,000 gold already onto him. That's pretty much a full item over pause alone in this side lane, so not exactly where pause wants to be by any means. As he's just trying to bide his time for now, get as many items as he can, because you really just need to be a body in a lot of these team fights. Although it's slowly getting harder and harder considering how far behind he is. He's still waiting to even buy magic resist for Pyrian, who's already slowly trying to get towards his second item. Won't be able to grab that before this Ocean Drake is up. 30 seconds on its spawn, and V3 are trying to find positioning here. Sengoku are going to be the ones who try to start things off, though. Almost routing them there, but not quite wanting to throw out the solar flare. They play it patiently for now, while V3 are just going to have to try and defend against the Rift Herald here. It should be able to get charge off and knock down the turret, so will force V3 back a little bit further. The Ocean Drake is now on, so we'll see if Sengoku are going to start it up immediately. This is a fairly good flanking position from pause. The question is, does Sengoku know it, or do they care? They're going to go for the engage right away. That's a good knockup from Reina to find value there. It's going to section away Enti, who goes golden just to buy time, but Oppiman's going to get slept up on his way in. The ultimate is not going to be enough to knock down Reina, who almost looks for a re-engage there, but the dredge line goes wide. Will the rest of V3 Esports find their pick? It's going to be on a support, so they still have to battle a bit if they want to deter Sengoku from this Drake, or if they want to be looking at it for themselves. But the backs come in. Pause is going to be teleporting in with fresh HP bars, while Ace in a good position to just loom around, zone away, and make sure Sengoku are not going to be approaching this Ocean Drake. V3 are going to be taking the Drake advantage here. Ocean Drake secured up for them. And that'll put it 2-1 at least on the Drake count. And that was a risky fight, but that's sort of both teams sort of just playing reserved there. NT goes down, and that was a clean fight from V3 Esports that easily could have gone worse if Sengoku were a little bit more aggressive in different areas. But neither team, you don't want to be giving away a full advantage just yet. You want to hold on to this game as long as possible, because Sengoku has slowly been winning out on this slower style play, just accruing a gold advantage overall. But NT just playing a little bit too far away from his team. He goes in here, he tries to get something started off. Good sidestep on the solar flare, and Reina finds such a good knockup there. He off of the Fate's Call from the Callista into the depth charge onto Pyrian that knocks up 3 members. Pyrian spends this whole time just trying to get close enough to do damage, but just worrying about eating any stray spell and going down for it. So For now, V3 are still in a fine position. The issue is that you did end up having to lose that Infernal Drake means it's going to take another 10 minutes to get toward, at least, to get towards your sole objective. And the reason that's more relevant for V3 Esports than it is for Sengoku is that a couple of these champions are on a timer. Callista definitely is a champion that sort of decays over time. Is Paz gonna... No, not quite gonna find Opperman. He, like ships passing in the night, Opperman just going to be able to back here and get away to safety. But like I was mentioning, V3 having the champions that sort of decay a little bit, they're the ones who are feeling the time crunch. Pyrion is more than happy to say, we'll give him one more Drake. I'll get a couple items, and then I'll start shredding FaZe. That's exactly what Azir loves to turn into, that meat grinder, towards the later stages of this game, as well as Ezreal can kind of go both ways. With the more defensive build, it's a little bit easier for Ezreal to stay alive in fights, which becomes a lot more relevant. And once he's able to even get something like a Death Dance, he doesn't have to worry so much about Ace being a threat to him. It will really just kind of be Archer and Boogie that are his main threats at that point. But core items are already completed onto Archer. That's an ideal setup. You have Bork, you have Runans, and you have your QSS to make sure you're able to keep your ball rolling. QSS is a little bit interesting because it really only works against Enti, but the amount of lockup that Leona has makes it well warranted. Now, Reyna wandering up here. Did get an auto on that one, but I don't think he... Yeah, Sweeper not quite off of cooldown. He's just waiting for the opportunity that he can clear that one away. Boogie's going to be helping him out with that one, while Ace is going to find out... Oh! Scratch that, the auto attack! I believe that was either the auto attack or the LeBlanc Q that ended up actually just proccing Spell Shield. The freshly purchased Spell Shield from Pyrion gets popped on his way out of Fountain. Little bit unfortunate there, but, you know, better than taking the damage, you suppose. While another Ocean Drake spawning up in about 1 minute. V3, of course, are going to have that one fresh on their minds. The nice thing for Sengoku is having an Azir at this point means you can work to shred it. The only unfortunate part is going into the Spell Shield means this is the more poke-oriented Azir. This is not your, you know, your Wit's End, or excuse me, not Wit's End, your Nashor's shreddy attack speed Azir. This is more just the Q poke Azir, the finds a lot of damage just from shoving the soldiers in. If you get a couple swings out of them, cool. But a lot of the members of V3 Esports are just too mobile for that, so it's a good build response coming out from Pyrion, and will definitely allow him for not as high damage peaks, but into the comp that V3 has will net overall a little bit better value. So V3 going to be trying to push into this Drake pit here. Opperman has good position, but dropping Mega right now means he's not going to have it available, but Sengoku starting the fight off anyway. Try to chase down Boogie there. Gonna find two there. He can pop the R, so the sleep is on. Gonna get a decent amount of position to safety as Reyna's gonna botch the dredge line. It got eaten up by the wall there. And that's going to deter most of that play for now. That's going to be two ultimates expended on both sides. With Reyna with Boogie popping the sleep and Blank popping his buckshot. That's not a terrible position on both sides. It does mean a little bit more for V3 as you would like to have that ultimate, but Ace is in a great flank spot here. Ooh, if that chain had hit, that definitely would have been a pop onto Blank, but meanwhile, Enti starting the fight on the other end of the map. The bowling ball's going to land his way onto Pyrion, but the Drake's going to go the way of Sengoku, as now they're looking to escape with their lives. Opperman is doing everything he can to keep them CC'd and out of the way. So Reyna's going to be forced to back away there. Not enough HP to continue that fight. Sengoku are scattering in every direction imaginable. Teleport going out there. Paz might be able to stop him, but no. Opperman's going to get to safety. And Enti should be able to just kill himself here. No, the E's going to land. That's going to mean at least a kill for Boogie or Ace, whoever they decide to give it over to. as the LeBlanc is going to be grabbing up that kill. Benefit to Sengoku, you got the Cloud Drake and you got out, or excuse me, you got the Ocean Drake and you got out, and it only cost you your support life. Hey, he's 0-4 anyway. What more gold is he really worth anymore? The thing I am worried about is NT had to int for this. He had to be a sacrificial lamb while the rest of his team was solo focusing on this Drake, burning it down, and then running for their lives immediately after. That is not a sign that bodes well for your team fighting if you are Sengoku. If your plan was to just grab that Ocean Drake and then head for the hills, that screams to me a lack of confidence, and of course, you know, you do have scaling options, so you can wait on that. But that is not a good feeling for Sengoku, and V3 know that they're going to be looking for any opportunity now to force a fight that Sengoku don't feel confident taking. But we'll see what V3 are able to make of it as... Oh, another potential coming around here. Ace is on a beautiful flank here. The dredge line's going to be what starts this one up as Ace is looking for an angle onto Pyrian. Spell shield already popped. He's rooted up. He's going to get knocked down slowly, but Enti going to be the first target there while Paz is just looking to maul Blank alone in the jungle. The hunter becomes the hunted, but Enti's the one who's paying for everyone's sins right now. As an E is going to land there, but no ultimate on Boogie just yet. They're going to use that pressure to just take control around this Baron pit. The vision control will mean that Sengoku need to look to stop this Baron. V3 are just baiting it for now. They're just playing the fakes as Ace is coming over the wall here. He's looking for plays. Opperman is very close to Mega, so he can look for a great play here onto V3 if they get too ambitious. V3 knowing that taking a slower approach for now as Sengoku are splitting up a bit, but now locking up Opperman there. They're trying to find the fight once again. The Azir turret will zone them out and hopefully try and deter V3 from getting too aggressive. While Sengoku make great use of that inside track into the mid lane, they will be able to take a turret for themselves. Turret for their support's life, as I'm sure ND being 0-5 is not too happy about this whole situation, but my life for ire, says the NT, as honestly isn't even the most amount of gold to really be giving over, and they do reestablish vision fairly shortly after, so good stuff to Sengoku, honestly, for being able to pick up the pieces of that one, and just grab a turret, little extra gold, lines your pocket, keeps you at about a 2k gold lead. Confidence, a little bit shaky, but something that Sengoku can work to overcome a little bit later. Once you get Pyrian a couple items and you worry, and you know, you have a little bit of extra damage in your kit, a little bit of safety and security for you, Totemeyeshi as well, once he picks up that Death Stance. Now, for the side of V3 Esports, I think what you're seeing when you look across at their build and you see a plethora of pink wards adorning their last slot of inventory is V3 know how important vision is right now. Sengoku doesn't have a comp that can sort of push their way in very safely. A mini Gnar is not a face checker. You do not have things like a Sejuani or a Set that can kind of walk in, or even like a Nidalee or a Volibear that can send out abilities to try and scout out the areas. So you're relying a lot on Ezreal to get most of that work done. And now with V3 Esports starting this up, Dredgeline's going to be thrown down onto NT. Not going to get too much action off that, but ultimately holding on to the vision control around here. They're looking to make a statement and hold their ground. Reyna going to be pushed back just a little bit further. Boogie waiting for the right opportunity to pop to sleep. He knows if he can get it on the right members, it can mean a fight win and can mean everything for V3. Opperman very close to Mega though. He wants an opportunity if he can. Drake at about 3.5k HP, getting burned down fast. The smite is in, and it's gonna go the way of Sengoku, as now they're pushing forward. This might be the fight that Sengoku are looking for, as the ultimate is only gonna find one, but it's only gonna be finding the one that is needed, while the rest of the team is gonna be trying to run them down. Sengoku are marching forward through this fight, finding 2, finding 3. As Boogie and Reina are heading for the hills. A clean fight and a clean steal from Blank is going to mean soul point for Sengoku. And almost a 4k gold advantage now in the side of Sengoku. A beautiful fight as Sengoku they say they've served their time as they wait and wait until they get the fight that they're looking for with the items they want. Beautiful stuff from Sengoku, as they're immediately turning their attention over to the Baron. Opperman is just looking to zone away Boogie for now. So that's about half HP on the Baron already. Gonna get burned down fast. V3 now being put on the back foot, with Sengoku grabbing up that Baron. And this is sort of exactly, this is honestly Sengoku playing exactly Sengoku's style. Slow and steady until you can pull the trigger exactly the way you want to. Blank winning out on that smite fight through Rend and Boogie's smite. It's a great way to win. It's a great way to get the objective that you want. But then finding the fight win is just the cherry on top at this point, as their comp is just so good at running people down. You have the extra slows coming out from the Ezreal abilities, as well as smoke screens and the like. And we'll see what Sengoku can make of this Baron. In the last game, we didn't see Barons netting too much value, but in this one, V3 don't exactly have the most amount of lane clear to really fight back against Sengoku. So you're not looking at things like an Azir. You're not looking at things like an Ashe with Runaan's. As it stands right now, Archer is the only one that has a real amount of lane clear. So really gonna have to put that Kalista to work, is trying to secure away this red buff here. Should be able to smite this one and get away, but no! Blank with the ultimate is gonna snipe that one away. A little bit of a petty ultimate, but right now you're not exactly looking for fights. You're just looking to net value out of the, you're just looking to get value out of the chains, or excuse me, out of the Baron that you already have. Fights are far from necessary from Sengoku. They're going to be marching up this mid lane now. If V3 opt into one, Sengoku can take it. But right now, Opperman is sectioned off towards the other side. He is dealing with Ace quite well. But we'll see what V3 can make in the meantime. You can't even chase them down, really, due to the Azir turret standing behind them, as any fight is so easily opted out of by Sengoku. As a true shot barrage is going to fly in there. Yutomeyesh is just trying to push in for this turret. They will be able to knock it down. They should be able to get this inhibitor as well. And with 20 seconds on the Baron clock, they can see if they can knock down this last top lane turret. But as it stands right now, this is all you can, this is what you want out of your Baron. You know, open up the map a little bit. Get that continued pressure for that Baron, or for that Drake coming up. But Sengoku might be saying to themselves that they want to take the fight as it stands, grabbing a second inhibitor. And this might be Sengoku's ticket to victory. 2 inhibitors down, opposite of the Ocean Drake. V3 need to contest this, and pings are coming out because they know just that. They do have to worry about their base, though. You can't exactly just be leaving super minions to be pushing in. No teleports available on Sengoku just yet, so you don't have to worry about a backdoor potential. But it doesn't bode well for your overall situation of V3 that you're just being dragged over to this Baron, or to this Drake pit, as Paz is face checking into more members than he really wants to. Ultimate flies in, but it's only going to give him enough HP to see his life a little while longer, as Opperman's looking for an ultimate ability to try to find. Scooped out in the back end is Ace, And this should be Sengoku cleaning up the team fight. Archer's gonna go down. And Sengoku are gonna be looking to try and end the game off that one. They're trying to chase down Boogie as Pyrian's trying to do everything he can. But that is one fast deer. That is not a champion you can track down very easily, while the rest of this team is going to be pushing into the base there. Pyrian just doing everything he can to stop the backs. Will knock down Boogie in the end as Enti finds Reina. This is going to be GG for Sengoku. No soul required. And honestly, textbook from Sengoku. Start to finish was exactly how Sengoku loves to play out situations. You start the game, you recognize that you need to go a little bit slower. You don't have to worry about V3 doing any crazy shenaniganery to accelerate the game pace. And Sengoku just wait until the end, wait until they get a couple items, they play it by the books, and it ends up being their win. Good stuff to Sengoku for taking game 1, so that will be 1-1 in the series. If you guys are enjoying, I am Dr. No. I do all English broadcasting for the LJL. I will be doing all the way through the playoffs, so if you guys are interested in English content on that, you can drop a follow here. You can also drop a follow on my Twitter, which is down below, to know when I'm going live or when I post other content. I do top 5 plays of the week. I do analytical content, which is my Doctor's Orders series, which I did a dive on DFM and their performance so far in the summer split. So you can expect more of that when we have this 2-week off period between round 2 and round 3, and then later on grand finals. So if you guys are interested in that kind of stuff, you can drop a follow. Would really appreciate it, as it does help me out a ton in being able to do this for you guys and deliver bigger, better content the whole way through. Thank you guys again for tuning in. Like I said, going to be taking a quick break. I'm going to be muting myself to turn my fan on for a bit. If you guys are in chat, feel free to say anything. I do like to type in chat at this time just to rest my voice and honestly keep my fan on, because it is just way too hot out here in Southern California. We are making it work here at 4 a.m. But thank you all again for tuning in. Really do appreciate you guys stopping by. Feel free to drop a follow, but don't go anywhere is the bottom line, because it's 1-1, evening up the series, still with games aplenty to come, as Sengoku gonna be tying up the game count.
いやタワーダメージできるかと思いましたが、チャーがヒールを使用し、さらにはライナーはフラッシュアウト。タワーダイブ成功。1キル追加 V3 スポーツです。あ、素直にもいきますか。さあリフトヘラル栄翔、レッドスナイトから 1V1。パスの3はしっかりと下がる。レッドバフがあるぞ。アルティメットあるか。E のシールド、これでのダメージ、フラッシュでなんとかオートアタック間に合わせました。ブランクシールド発生前ですね。完璧ですね。今の駆け引き素晴らしいですね。ソロキルです。当たらず宿命の呼び声で助けます。さあそこに戦国寄ってきたブランクの、これは煙幕からエンティフラッシュイン狙っているのはアーチャーか。さあまず1キル獲得はピリアン、そしてシャットダウンはアバメンに入った。武器も囲まれている。全くこれは逃げることはできないでしょう。ダブルキルアバメン、戦国ゲーミング返した3キル獲得。さあアバメンはゲージがかなり溜まっている。エンティがもうすぐさま仕掛けてからのソーラーフレア、ただここは当たっていない。それに対して宿命の呼び声からのバークライ発射、スリーマンのカッパを切れていますが、それでもエンティが時間を稼ぐ。さあストップ落ち、そして反転ですが、子守歌メガナ打てず、そして武器がフラッシュインからのヒャー危ないを狙いますが、すぐさまフラッシュアウトで対応している。さあフロントとしては V3 のが体力あるでしょうか。1キル獲得したのは V3 スポーツです。いやそれでもアポメン強気、裏からなんとしてもメガタイミング入りたいと見えていますが、トゥルーショットバラージ、これはいいダメージを今度はミドルメウシが出しましたが、エースが徹底的にこれはアパメンを入れさせる。ブランクがオシャンドレイクを抑えました。さあそこからの集団戦、エンティがフロントになって、そして目が入るフラッシュインからのスタン、いや捉えた、なんとアーチャー捉えることで成功。シャットダウンはブランク、ここが勝負だということでブランク前に出る。ダブルキルはブランク、さらにはエンマックスロー、そこに合わせるのはピリアン、トリプルキルはブランク。ただこれだけ戦国ゲーミングが作ってますからね。ここ睨み合いすればいいですが、さあパズ捕まえに行く集団戦になった。エンティがジェネシスブレードで 入って、そして狙いはフォーカスはパズ、さあ溶かして低めの指輪でツーマンノックアップしているもののアパーが入っている。いやここは CC でうまく止めました。そして裏に入ったバーク、いやこれはエースをしっかりとピリアン見ていました。そしてまたしてもエンティ追撃、そこに合わせるのはブランク、全員で戦国当たりに行く。3キル獲得は戦国、さらにはピリアンフラッシュイン。キルラインが見えています。いやリコールをさせなければいい。ブギは足が速いので逃れることはできそうではありますが、かなり体力が回復します。ブラストコーン、いや読んでいるピリアン。さあバンボイワン、しっかりピリアン勝ちます。そしてお膳立てはここまでチームを支えたエンティ。ライナはフラッシュアウト、捉えることはできませんがテレポートをミニオンで守って分からなくなります。ゲーム2勝利したのは戦国ゲーミングとなりました。